It was good that I was afflicted, and especially those who have been afflicted physically, especially for a long time. He will allow us to suffer temporarily in this life if we miss the perspective that this life is only to test and teach. Well, friends, this video is for those who suffer. There's a lot of people who don't believe in the Most High, and they're like, well, if the Most High was real, he wouldn't allow suffering. He wouldn't allow pain and such injustice as there is. Well, that's a multifaceted point, because we each have free will to do whatever we choose. Now, that free will can inflict harm on another person. Now, for the Most High to directly intervene, that would lose our free will. There's another part of suffering. Sometimes we are allowed to suffer. That's a hard concept to understand, especially in today's society, where suffering is considered either a punishment or something that we should really try to run away from. But in the Most High's words, the Creator, Yahweh Elohim, he has a little bit different of a take. In Peter, it says, "Dear friends, don't be surprised at these fiery trials that are coming upon you as something strange or happening, because rejoice inasmuch as you participate in the sufferings with Christ, so that you may be overjoyed when his glory is revealed. For a little while we suffer all kinds of grief and trials, but these come upon us to prove our genuineness and to test our faith." If we go through life with no tests and no struggles, well then, how are we to grow? See, usually pain, especially with working out, there's a certain amount of pain that goes with it. But that pain isn't necessarily bad. And that's how we need to transform our minds into his thinking. Because as Psalm says, that it was good that I was afflicted, because that purges the evil, and especially those who have been afflicted physically, especially for a long time. That's a very challenging situation. I can personally attest to that. Now, there are those Christians who would say, oh, well, you just don't have enough faith to be healed. You know, the problem is you because you don't have enough faith. Well, I say to them, you know not what you talk about. That is absolute horrible thing to say. And people with a lack of knowledge concerning the Most High, they really shouldn't be giving people advice, because they give him a bad name and they give his way, the way, a bad name. And it's time that stops. Therefore, since Christ had suffered in his body, arm ourselves also with that same attitude. Because whoever suffers in the body, they are done with sin. And as a result, they won't live the rest of their earthly lives for evil human desires, chasing the cares of the world and the deceitfulness of riches, but rather chasing the will of the Most High. And that is the straight and narrow path, the path of self-analyzation, to self-reflection, to see, are we aligning our ways with the Most High, the Creator? Are we aligning our ways with the words that are quick and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword that cuts right to the heart of a matter? It cuts between soul and spirit, and it discerns the intentions of the heart. And there's nothing that can get past its gaze, because he sees absolutely everything that there is. In the book of Enoch, it says that, you evil ones, do you not know that every single day, every single word and action is recorded in the heavenly books? And just like in Revelations, when it says, and behold, the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And I saw the dead, great and small, stand before Elohim. That book is the book of the actions of mankind, and everything we do is recorded in that book. So what do I have to say to those who are suffering? That you are in his will. You are in his plan. People that are chosen to be called out to suffer is actually a blessing. And that's the deception that this life and all of humanity and the evil one tries to portray. If we miss the perspective that this life is only to test and teach and to prepare us for the age to come, where He is going to fill his house with his people, and only the people who choose are going to be in his kingdom. And when the kingdoms of this world become the kingdoms of our Elohim and of his Christ, then heaven and earth merge. And the will of the Most High, my Father who is in heaven, hallowed and great and awesome be your name. May your kingdom come. May your will be done on this earth, in my life, in my heart, as it already is happening in the heavenly realms. And soon, one day, when he returns in power and great glory, he's going to set the record straight. And the people that follow his words, and they cast off fleeting pleasures of sin that this life has to offer, well, then they can see clearly as the fog and the mist of our purpose clears, and we can see what our purpose is, our individual path that we must cut ourselves. We can't follow anybody else's path. Each one of us is a unique individual part of the body of Yahusha, each one designed for its own specific task and purpose. And that's what our goal should be, is to find out what the gifts and talents that he gave us, the abilities that are unique to us, and we can use that to bring his kingdom into this earth now, so that through us, his glory may prevail now, and because of us, his name is now honored. Look at the book of Job. Job did nothing wrong. He was not being punished. All his so-called buddies, they did nothing but try to justify and say, you must have sinned somewhere, Job. You did wrong somewhere. Oh, it's definitely your fault. So that's the accuser of the brethren. He is the one that points those things out. He is the one that poisons our mind. And if you know in the book of Job, Satan, he came up to the throne of the Most High, and he has to answer to him. There is nothing he's allowed to do without his authority. Nothing can be done without it. And so, if we question him, he has all the interwoven intricacies of everybody's life all woven together. We need to trust him and then know that he, the creator of the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, he is a good Elohim, a good God. I just have to say, hang in there. I personally know what it is to suffer a lot. And I'm not going to go into details about that yet. However, all the struggles that I faced worldly, carnal Christians who are telling me I don't have enough faith to be healed. And if you know the deeper teachings of Yahusha, he is worried about our eternal well-being. He will allow us to suffer temporarily in this life in order to purge the evil from us, in order to purify us as gold that is put through the fire, refining. And so what do we do with that? Do we get bitter? And do we resent the Most High because he has allowed affliction? What about all the good times that we have? Do we thank and do we bless him? Or as soon as something bad happens, oh, God is not there. He doesn't see. No, we have to remain resolute. And we have to understand that the ways of this world are in direct opposition to the Most High and his words. That his words are quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword. And it cuts to the intentions of the thoughts and the heart. And it discerns how we really are inside. Are we going to pick the wide and easy way that all the masses are taking that lead to destruction? Are we going to take the narrow and the straight path where we self-analyze and we acknowledge the faults that we have and we work on them? And the gifts that we are given, we don't arrogant and proud because of these gifts. They were a gift. They were given to us. With great power comes great responsibility. That Spider-Man ripped that from the Most High's word. Please join me on this further journey as we explore this and other topics and try to navigate through this life and from a perspective of the way, the truth, and the life. Yahushua HaMashiach, the Son of the living Elohim, Yahuwah Elohim, and his Son, Yahusha. Yah is salvation. He is coming in power and great glory, and we are to prepare the way. And we are to teach all of mankind who the Most High is, his goodness, his love, his mercy, his justice. What he did, he sent his Son to die a bitter, brutal, painful death, humiliating, when he is the King of kings and Lord of lords. So therefore, he is the worthy one, because he suffered and went through the pains of death for each one of us. If we choose that, on that day when we stand before him and the books are open, we will be considered innocent because of what Yahusha did for us. He washed us from our sins with his own lifeblood. And with that, thank you. Please like, subscribe if you like this. Yah bless.